Now, one of the left's new favorite talking points is Republican members of Congress are afraid to hold town halls. Of course, that is not accurate. The left knows it's not accurate. We do know that there have been multiple reports of Democratic groups that are well-funded and provide talking points that have purposely been organizing disruptions of Republican town halls. Chuck Schumer himself said the Democratic Party had people dedicated to this effort. The goal of these radical Democrats, whether organized or not, is to show up, make a scene, cause chaos, create a false image that, oh, everybody's angry with Republicans. And that's exactly what happened yesterday to Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Take a look.
The Palestinians have voted for Hamas, and they have not done anything to remove Hamas. So if you want to have a shouting match of me, let's have a shouting match because you think you're being heard, and let's be clear, you're not. Let's be very clear, you're not. What you're doing is yelling now, and you're being disrespectful. You, ma'am, you are being disrespectful, and I will respect you, and I will honor the fact that you are here trying to get answers, but if you're going to hold this thing up and be disrespectful, then that's time for you to be removed.
All right, here with reaction, Congressman Byron Donalds. First, I give you a lot of credit for dealing and putting up with this crap. Free Palestine. Okay, radical leftists, maybe they should think about murder, kidnapping, torture, beheadings that took place, the equivalent of 40,000 dead Israelis based on their population size versus ours in a single day. Maybe they would be a little more sympathetic to the victims of Islamic terror. Your reaction?
Sean, my reaction is simple. We were going to do town hall meetings because I believe that's what members of Congress should be doing, regardless of people who want to come in, try to take over town halls, boo or whatever they want to do. The other point, Sean, is this is why Donald Trump supports me to be Florida next governor, because I will take the message of common sense and conservatism anywhere, any place, anytime, in any audience. I'm not going to be intimidated by any of these protesters. Members of Congress should not be intimidated by these people. They want to shout you down to try to deflect and distract from their terrible policy and how they left America really at the bottom in the pit because of the terrible presidency of Joe Biden. We shouldn't put up with it. We should confront it head on. And if they're going to be rude and disrespectful, then kick them out of the room. It's that simple.
Well, you heard what Chuck Schumer had said about this. And there's been a lot written about whether this is astroturfing and people are organized, given talking points, purposely showing up, even people from outside your district. Did you get the impression that was the case last night?
Well, last night I know because we were making sure that only members of the congressional district could attend, that these were local Democrats. They wanted to be inflamed. I will say, yeah, local Democrats are being organized about coming into congressional town halls. I've had town halls for years, Sean. Never saw that many Democrats show up. That's okay. If they want to show up now, you're going to hear the truth. You're going to hear the facts. You're not going to hear Democrat talking points. You're not going to hear spin. And they want to yell and be upset because they want you, quite frankly, to reverse course, reverse your positions, stand against things that are right. Stand against deporting illegal aliens. Stand against Israel. That's what they want you to do. But when you don't bend to their will, then they yell and they get upset like they did last night. So if they want to organize and come to town halls, that's fine. But you will be met with the facts. You will be met with reality. You'll be met with common sense. That's what Republicans need to be doing right now.
Look, I love the fact that you know you're walking into an environment that this is likely going to happen. And maybe there are a lot of Republicans that just don't want any part of it and they'll stay away from it. But I do suggest that people do what you did. And this is a basic security measure. You were kind of on a stage that they couldn't get to you. I'm sure you had security nearby. And just for your safety and having people there for the safety of the crowds as well. But it was obvious also the majority of the people there wanted to hear from you and did not like the disruption. That part never gets played out in the media. They only show the part where they're disrupting your speech.
No, that's very true, Sean. And listen, even last night when people wanted to jeer and boo, I told them, I'm like, you don't have to agree with me, but at least respect the venue and respect other members of the constituency to hear the answer. You can boo later, you can leave and be upset, but at least give people the opportunity to hear, be respectful. And when it came time where people were choosing not to be respectful, that's when we kicked them out. And we were very clear at the top, if you're not respectful of the environment that we're in and let people actually hear what's going on, we're going to remove you. And I think that's a common sense approach to it. You want to be able to address the constituencies that you represent in a personal, one-on-one manner. You want to be able to do that, I believe, as a member of Congress. But we got to set ground rules. If you want to be upset, but that doesn't give people the right to be disrespectful.
And guess what? If you're going to disrupt everyone else's town hall, you're out. Goodbye. Don't let the door kick you in the backside on the way out. Congressman, appreciate you coming on. Glad everything worked out okay. And it was clear that the vast majority of people there were there to hear you and ask important questions. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.